Hey there, I'm Kelly from Pink Lemonade Company, and thank you so much for joining me for this graphics crash course. Now, this is a crash course, so we're not going to be going into anything too deep in here, and I definitely want to be respectful of your time, so I want to give you some good information right away and quick and to the point, so let's get started. What we're going to go over today is we're going to look at raster versus vector graphics. We're going to also talk about design programs to consider and what design program you should get started in. We're also going to touch slightly on copyright basics, as that's so important when using graphics. We're also going to dive into ways to use graphics, and we're just going to show you how some of our members use our graphics and what they do with them and how they create income. And then we're going to talk about graphics and passive income, along with a few other things that I think you're going to have some fun with. One of the first things I want to go over with you today is raster graphics and vector graphics, and we're just going to look at some of those. To talk about raster and vector, we're going to get a little help from the Adobe website. Adobe creates Photoshop, Illustrator, and a ton of other completely cool programs. So raster versus vector. Basically, raster is going to be PNGs, the JPEGs. They're going to have more of the detail, the texture, just all that. They can look rougher as terms of like you can make them like vintage-esque looking, or just a whole bunch of texture can go into them. Where the vector, they tend to be more solid in color, more simple. Not simple. I hate to say that because there's some really awesome vector art out there. But like the Cricut machines will, use, or the Silhouette will use like the SVG or the vector. And so basically it comes down to raster. They're also called bitmap images. They can only be stretched so far. So you stretch those puppies and eventually they're going to get really blurry, like this picture on adobe.com shows. So you can only stretch those so far. And you can create really good high resolution raster images or PNGs or JPEGs that can stretch pretty far. But if you wanted to create something to stretch, say like from here to the moon, it's going to get blurry after a while. Vector, on the other hand, it keeps it from ever getting stretched out looking. Like the edges are going to remain crisp. It's going to look good if you stretch it from here to Pluto. Like the vector images, the way they're done, they take a mathematical algorithm and they always maintain their edges, their shapes is always going to stay crisp, so you can just endlessly stretch those out. So that is the two basic differences between raster and vector graphics, which again, raster are going to be the PNGs, the JPEGs. That's what I create. I don't really ever create any vector images because I love to just throw a whole bunch of like texture and distress and roughness and edginess into my graphics. Vectors, I just don't ever. I do create those. I have created them in the past, but for instance, like my graphics membership site, like it's full of just raster graphics. I don't ever put vector in them just because it's not my thing, And like if you have an online creative business, like you kind of tend to do better if you stick with what really lights you up and what you really love to create. Okay, so if we're looking at our file formats again, let's break it down. So here's our raster graphic types, the JPEG or PNG or PSD layered files, are our vector graphic types, which would be the SVG or our AI files. And then if you'll notice, I didn't include the PDF on either one because depending on how it can be created, it can go either way. So that will just give you a good basics on that. Don't get too hung up on that because honestly, this is kind of like the boring side of graphics, and it's way more fun when you get to creating and, getting to use the color and just letting your creativity go wild. Now, at this point, if you're confused about file format, this was just a crash course to kind of get you used to the terms or maybe just give you some basic knowledge in it. I definitely would invite you to Design Business in a Box where we go deeper into this. But let's move on to different design programs. One of the questions that my team and I see the most is when people get starting to use graphics, they're like, what design programs should I use? Definitely a valid question. And the honest answer is, I think just getting started and making that move to try to learn something new is probably more important than deciding which program you're going to use. I use Photoshop. It's the industry standard, and so I'm very confident in its ability to create really powerful graphics and high quality graphics that I sell to clients. Or back when I did custom design, this was kind of my go-to. But the trick is, like, it just get started somewhere, right? And so Photoshop, again, it's $9.99 a month. I know some people don't like the fact that you pay a subscription. I'm okay with that because I used to pay a lot of money for the software up front, and then I'd have to pay again for the updated version. So now with the subscription, I get the latest release and the newest features. So that feels really good to me. Canva, it's kind of I think it was advertised in the beginning as a non-designer's design software. It's a great way to get used to graphics and get, into it, but I use it as well now. Like, it is a very high level program. It's free, so definitely check out canva.com. I know a lot of members in our Facebook group, they've talked about Affinity. Now, I believe that's similar to Photoshop. I've never used it, but that's another option. And then if you are wanting to learn more about vector graphics, then Illustrator is like the cousin or the sister to Photoshop, where Photoshop works with raster graphics. Illustrator creates vector graphics. We also have members that use the Silhouette or Cricut design software. I'm not very familiar with that. I bought a Silhouette and I just never used it, so I don't have a lot of experience with that. But several of our members, they do use like the Silhouette Design Business Edition, I believe it's called. Now, I do want to mention some copyright basics. Now, this is a topic that can get pretty tangled, but at the very basic, just please know that just because there's an image on Google or you decided maybe you want to create like a Disney shirt, that doesn't give you the legal right to do so. So I highly suggest when you work with graphics that you look more into copyright. There are a lot of sellers out there getting shut down right now because they are using images or brands illegally without the license to do so. One of the things that we do at PLC Insiders, the graphics membership site, is make sure that those graphics, they're created by me and the designers, and that they are very safe in the way they're used and that there's no copyright infringement. So let's talk about how we can use these graphics, because it is kind of a foreign concept until we know like how to do it or we've seen how to do it. So I'm going to share with you some of the way that our members are using the graphics. At Pink Lemonade Company, one of our passions is in helping women monetize their creativity. When I started my business, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do or how I wanted it to work, but I just knew that I was so passionate about being able to find a way to have fun and be creative and get paid to do that. So I do want to share that our mission at Pink Lemonade Company is to empower women by helping them transform their lives through creativity and possibility. This was so important to me because I have found a way by creating graphics and selling courses that my creativity has provided a whole transformation to my family's life and my life and the way we move day to day through our lives. It was such an impact for me, and so I really love sharing that with other women because I believe that's possible for all of us. So it's really exciting to me when I see women using the graphics to, transform their own lives and provide freedom for themselves and for their family, and where they can make more money, because that does give us more options. And so here's just some of the ways that some of the members are using the graphics, whether they're selling the graphics on flip-flops. There's a journal cover in here, of course, t-shirt design, a printable banner, social media post, Facebook cover image, another adorable t-shirt design, or just a logo for their business. It is so inspiring to see all the members of PLC Insiders getting in there, doing the work, and transforming their own reality. There's just nothing else that lights me up more than that. It is such a fun process for us to give them these graphics, and they just go wild with them. And it's such an exciting community to be a part of. So let me show you some more ideas on graphics. So at Pink Lemonade Company, we do tend to cater to business owners or women that are wanting to start their own business. And so they can use our graphics in a number of ways. So website graphics, blog design, digital designs, social media images, business branding, and logos. We have some members that use our graphics and product design. So they design a t-shirt, dish towel, hat, mug, etc. Like there's so many options, the sky's the limit. Sublimation transfers. And this is such a small list because there are so many ways that the members are using their graphics, or that you could get started using graphics. Whether you purchase their PLC or not, that's okay. We just want to help you get creative, see what's possible for you, maybe expand that vision that you have for yourself. When I started out 10 years ago, I had no idea that graphics and the whole creativity would take me to this level, but it's definitely possible for you, because if I can do it, anybody can do it. Also at Pink Lemonade Company, we believe in the power of community and cheering each other on. To be able to teach women how to use graphics and turn around where they can make a profit off of those graphics is something that we definitely do not take lightly at PLC. That is what we're here for. And so to see an awesome post like this just completely makes our day. And so if you're looking for some kind of community full of women that are encouraging each other, you found the right place. So let's talk about passive income really quickly. Graphics and passive income is a powerful combination. So basically, if you have a graphic, you could turn it into a t-shirt design. So for instance, like our members, they take a graphic or 3 graphics of ours and turn it into a new design and sell that on Etsy or their website or whatever, and then they make that profit from that. And so they can start changing their own family's lives by doing this, right? And it's also, you just get so much freedom in this as well, because once you create the product, you can sell it over and over.
So let's talk for a moment about passive content. That means you could create a t-shirt design, for example, put it on Etsy or your website or wherever, and it gets sold. And the beauty of passive content is that you do all the work up front and then you sell the file over and over again without needing to create the work each time. And so it's already done. So if someone comes and buys a graphic from me, then that means I sat down at one point, create the graphic, and I'm able to sell that file over and over and over. And so I don't need to be creating a new file every time someone wants to buy that graphic. Like, it's already done, and I don't need to be present for each sale.
So I just want you to maybe open up
to the possibility that something more is out there for you, right? Like there's something that is available when we stretch that vision. And so I always encourage anybody that comes across my path or is working with us in the group or the PLC Insiders membership to choose yourself. So if you're thinking about starting that online business, or maybe you already have one, but it's not growing like you want it to, just know, please know it can work. Like I want you to choose yourself and your dream every single day. You deserve to have success and to build something that sustains you and your family. And honestly, I wanted to give up so many times, but I stayed consistent. I didn't shy away from selling. I showed up live, etc. It paid off. Was I afraid? Yes, absolutely. But I did it anyway, and you can too. So please choose yourself and believe in yourself. So I definitely understand that it's not as simple as saying, yeah, I'm going to make all this money and sell these graphics or sell these designs that I've used these graphics to create. There is a level of commitment, obviously, that is involved. And so I understand that, and I understand that we can either choose excuses or we can choose to move forward and let nothing stop us. And so if you're needing some help, like be sure to reach out. We've got several programs that can help you stay on track. We also have group coaching, one-on-one coaching, whatever it is you need to get to that next level. And as I tell my students, we can either have an expensive hobby or a profitable business. So you may need some help getting to that level of profitable business, but rest assured that Pink Lemonade Company is here to help you. So my challenge to you is to dive into the graphics. If you haven't started using graphics or if you haven't chosen a design program, make that choice today. The best type of action is to just get in there and get started. The worst type, of course, is no action. So I hope that you will, dive into Canva, open up Photoshop, just start somewhere. You're always welcome to use our graphics to create fun products to sell because our graphics come with a commercial use license. But even if you don't use our graphics, I hope that you will find some graphics somewhere and just start creating because it can open up so many doors to your life. Thanks so much for joining me for this quick graphics crash course. If you have any questions, be sure to post them in the Facebook group or contact us at pinklemonadecompany.com.